You see this? That perfect color, that soft white ring line. You might think this came from a bakery, but no, this is homemade. In this video, I'm sharing everything from all the donuts I've made till now. The flour, the yeast, dough kneading techniques, proofing techniques, even frying. Every tiny secret that makes a donut truly perfect. Everything you need to make the perfect donuts at home. Stay with me till the end, because after this, you'll know donuts better than anyone. In this video, I'll be showing you 2 donut recipes, both made in different ways. One with using a stand mixer and one-hand kneading. One with eggs and the other fully eggless. You'll also see different shaping techniques, so you can master every style of donut at home. Alright, get a small mixing bowl and add milk, sugar, and instant dry yeast. I'm using regular milk here, just kept at room temperature for a while, because instant yeast doesn't need warm liquid. That's the beauty of it. Give it a good mix until everything is nicely dissolved. Now crack in 2 medium-sized eggs. This version is made with eggs, but don't worry, in the next part I'll show you the eggless version too. Mix it all well until everything comes together. The best part about instant yeast? You don't need to activate it. It starts working right away, saving time. But if you're using active dry yeast, always make sure it's properly activated. It should look foamy and bubbly before you use it. Now let's move to the flour. For this recipe, I'm using bread flour only. It has about 11.7% protein. When you use different flours, always adjust your liquid while kneading. Every flour absorbs differently depending on the protein level, so always check your dough. Now sift the flour. Sifting is important. It removes lumps and helps create smoother dough. Next, add milk powder. This gives your donuts a beautiful richness and flavor. I always recommend it. If you don't have milk powder, don't worry, just skip it. And finally, add salt to balance the flavors. Now give the dry ingredients a quick mix with. Let's combine everything. Pour the wet mixture into the flour. And start kneading on low speed. I'm using speed 2 here. While it's coming together, watch your dough closely. If it looks too soft, add 1 or 2 spoons of flour, just a little. If it feels too tight, add a tablespoon or 2 of milk. The key is balance, smooth, elastic dough that's not too sticky or too firm. Once it starts to combine nicely, increase the speed to 3 and continue kneading for about 5 to 6 minutes. Now it's time to add the butter. Make sure your butter is soft. It should blend easily into the dough. In winter, you can keep it somewhere slightly warm before using. Add the butter and keep kneading for another 5 to 7 minutes. If your dough feels warm, especially during summer, just pause for a bit, then keep it in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes, then continue kneading again. And here's one little summer tip. If you're making donuts when it's warm, add a few ice cubes while kneading, because the dough can get hot while mixing, and we don't want that. Ice cubes help keep it cool and prevent the dough from overheating, especially kneading it for a long time to get the right texture. Dough usually takes around 15 to 20 minutes of kneading. That's when the dough turns smooth, soft, and silky. But don't over-knead. Too much can make the dough tight, and it might shrink later during shaping or frying. Now let's check the dough. You can see it looks soft, elastic, and smooth. It passes the window pane test perfectly. That's when you stretch the dough and it doesn't tear easily. That means it's ready. Let the dough rest for 10 minutes before we shape. Shaping is such an important step. It decides how your donuts will look and fry evenly. Use a kitchen scale to divide the dough equally. I'm making 40-gram portions, but you can do 30 or even 50 grams if you prefer bigger ones. Take each portion and roll it into a tight, smooth ball. Cup your hand over the dough and roll gently in a circular motion. If you see cracks, fold the dough inward, pinch the seams and roll again until smooth. Once all your dough balls are ready, dust a little flour on your tray, place them neatly and cover. Let them rest for about 15 to 20 minutes. They'll relax and be ready for the next step. Now let's start shaping the dough balls. Here I'm using a shaping ring, something I got up from a local market. But don't worry if you don't have this. You can use any small measuring cup or round cutter. They work beautifully and you'll still get that perfect even donut shape. Take one dough ball, place it on the ring, and gently press it down. This helps remove any trapped air and gives an even surface. Once that's done, take the dough in your hand and with your finger, poke a hole right in the center. Stretch it slightly. Just a little bit because remember, the hole will shrink during proofing. Don't make it too big. Now place all your shaped donuts on small pieces of baking paper. Leave enough space between them. They'll need room to expand. Baking paper makes it so much easier to handle later while frying, no sticking, and no mess. Once all are shaped, leave for proofing. This step is everything. Perfect proofing gives that beautiful rise and the soft white ring you see on bakery donuts. To check if your donuts are ready, press one gently with your finger. If the indentation springs back slowly, it's ready. If it bounces back too fast, it needs more time. And if it doesn't spring back at all, that means it's overproofed. Now, once proofing is almost done, it's time to heat the oil. Set the temperature between 150 to 160 degrees Celsius. This is the sweet spot for perfect donuts. Not too high, not too low. Start by frying one piece first just to test. When you drop it in, let it float and fry slowly for 2 to 3 minutes. Then, when it turns that beautiful golden color, flip it gently to fry the other side. Always maintain the oil temperature. If the oil is too cold, donuts will absorb too much oil and turn greasy. If it's too hot, the outside will brown too fast and the inside will stay raw. You'll notice your donuts float with the center slightly above the oil surface. That's when that perfect white ring forms naturally. So remember, everything matters. The dough texture, the kneading, dividing equally, shaping gently, proofing perfectly, and finally frying at the right temperature. That's how you get donuts that look and taste better than any bakery. So, how was the first recipe? I hope you liked it, because this one covers everything from kneading to frying in full detail. If you'd like to learn how to make glaze, I already have a full video on that. You can find it in my donut playlist on the channel. Now, let's move to the second recipe. And in this one, I'm going to show you some unique techniques and tips. After this, you'll truly know donuts better than anyone. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you something a little different. We'll do everything by hand, the kneading technique, the shaping, and a few really helpful tips in between. Alright, let's start. Get a big mixing bowl and pour in milk, sugar, and instant dry yeast. Here I'm using instant yeast again, so no need to activate it. Even if you're using fresh yeast, you can just mix it straight into the liquid. No activation needed. Give it a good mix until everything is combined. For this recipe, I'm using a mix of bread flour and all-purpose flour. 75% bread flour and 25% all-purpose flour. That combination gives the perfect balance. Strength from the bread flour and softness from the all-purpose. You can use either one alone too, but remember this, while kneading, always adjust your liquid to get the perfect dough texture. Now add a little salt as well. That balances the flavor. And for this recipe, I'm using yogurt instead of eggs. Yogurt works beautifully as a natural egg substitute. It gives structure, softness, and keeps the donuts moist. If you don't want to use yogurt, you can also use smooth mashed potatoes, not grainy. It adds moisture and a bit of starch, keeping the donuts soft and fluffy even after they cool. Once everything's in, start combining all the ingredients. While you're mixing in the bowl, always feel the dough with your hands. If it feels too soft or too hard, just adjust with a bit of milk or a bit of flour. That's one of the most important tips. Always check your dough. When it starts coming together nicely, transfer it onto your working table. Now it's time for hand kneading. Push, fold, and turn. That's the rhythm. Use the heel of your palm to push the dough away. Fold it back, turn slightly, and repeat. At first the dough will look sticky, messy, but don't worry. As you keep kneading, it slowly becomes smooth and soft. If the dough is sticking too much, lightly dust your table with flour. But remember, not too much, just enough to handle it easily. Too much flour will make your donuts dense. Once the dough starts feeling smoother, add the soft butter. Make sure the butter is really soft so it blends easily. Now continue kneading for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Usually 15 minutes is perfect if you knead continuously. Check the dough in between. I know hand kneading takes some effort. If it feels tough, take a short break and come back. Just don't rush. Do the window pane test. Stretch. If it doesn't tear easily and light passes through, it's ready. That means gluten is well developed. Now cover the dough and let it rest for about 15 minutes. While resting, you can also divide the dough slowly so it doesn't dry out. Take each portion and roll it into a tight, smooth ball. Cup your hand over the dough and with light pressure, roll it in a circular motion, just like we did in the first video. Once you have a smooth ball, press it slightly to flatten. Here, I'm using a ring and a spray bottle cap to cut the shape. Simple, right? Honestly, you don't need any fancy tools here. Use whatever you have at home. After pressing each ball, place them on a floured tray. I'm actually using coffee sauces here. Easy alternative, and it works great. Always make your work easier. Go with what's available. Now leave them for proofing. This step is really important. It decides how your donuts will turn out. Depending on your kitchen temperature, proofing can take anywhere between 45 minutes to 2 hours. Don't rush. Watch your dough, not the clock. Once the dough is nicely proofed, we'll make the hole. In the previous recipe, we used a finger to poke a hole, but this time I'm using a small cutter. It gives a clean, even shape. Just dust the cutter lightly with flour and press in the center. Here's something very important. Never ever overproof the dough. If it overproofs, you won't be able to cut the hole cleanly and the donuts will collapse while frying. They'll turn soggy and lose their shape completely, so always check your dough. If it's puffed up nicely and springs back slowly when you touch it, that's perfect. You'll notice both recipes give slightly different shapes, so follow whichever style you prefer, ring or round. After making the holes, let the donuts rest again for about 15 minutes. While they rest, heat your oil between 150 and 160 degrees Celsius. That's the ideal range for soft, fluffy donuts with a beautiful white ring. Once the oil is hot enough, it's time to fry the donuts. If you don't have a thermometer, don't worry. There's an easy way to check. Just drop a small piece of dough into the oil. If it rises slowly and starts bubbling, that means the oil is ready. But if it turns brown too quickly, your oil is too hot. Now gently place the donuts into the oil. Once they're in, don't move them too much. Just let them fry slowly. It usually takes around 2 to 3 minutes per side to get that perfect color. You'll see them floating beautifully, forming that soft white ring around the center. That's the sign of perfect proofing and ideal temperature. When one side turns golden, flip them gently and fry the other side. Always control your oil temperature. That's the key to light, airy donuts. If it's too low, they'll absorb oil. If it's too high, they'll brown too fast. and stay raw inside. Once fried, remove them carefully and place on a wire rack or paper towel to drain any excess oil. Let them cool slightly before glazing or filling. They'll be soft, fluffy, and melt in your mouth delicious. I hope you enjoyed both versions. Try them at home, and once you do, you'll never want store-bought doughnuts again. So, how were the recipes? If you have any doubts, let me know in the comments section below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who always wanted to make donuts at home. And don't forget to subscribe for more delicious recipes like this. Until then, enjoy your homemade donuts.